ICICI Lombard and CNBC-TV18 present India Risk Management Awards Season 11.
Good evening and a very warm welcome to the 11th edition of the India Risk Management Awards presented by ICICI Lombard and CNBC-TV18. 11 years ago, a seed was sown. A seed of recognition for the silent guardians of Indian business, the risk management professionals and practitioners. Now, in its 11th year, the India Risk Management Awards have set the standard of excellence, honoring organizations that have demonstrated outstanding risk mitigation strategies. As AI transforms industries, risk management must evolve. And that is why this year, we are concentrating on artificial intelligence in risk management. And tonight, we celebrate those who are leading this change and charge, using risk management not just to defend, but to drive growth and stability. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome a visionary leader at the helm of India's leading private general insurer, ICICI Lombard. With over 2 decades of experience across banking and insurance, he has driven ICICI Lombard's market leadership through his expertise in retail, bancassurance, and product innovation, exemplifying strategic acumen and perseverance in an ever-evolving industry. Please welcome Mr. Sanjeev Mantri, Managing Director and CEO of ICICI Lombard, to deliver the welcome and keynote address.
It's a real pleasure to welcome you to the 11th edition of IRMA. What began as a shared vision between ICICI Lombard and CNBC-TV18 has now grown into a true celebration of excellence in risk management. As we gather tonight to honor organizations that don't just manage risk but lead through it, I am reminded of something Warren Buffett once said. Risk comes from not knowing what you are doing. Through IRMA, our aim has always been to build awareness, share knowledge, and strengthen the backbone of risk resilience in India, Inc. Watching IRMA evolve from a modest award platform to a recognized thought leadership forum has been incredibly satisfying. We have grown from just 20 companies across 5 categories to over 450 across 60 categories. That's not just scale. That's a movement. Every time we applaud risk excellence, we are pushing the boundaries of what resilient India can look like. Let's face it, unpredictability is the new normal. The world we operate today is just in the shape of borders, but by data, algorithms, and deep digital interactions. From trade realignments to cybercrime, from geopolitical shifts to digital threats, risk now wears many faces. So it's both an honor and a responsibility to speak on the subject that's reshaping boardroom agendas, policy discussions, and even geopolitics. This brings us to today's theme, artificial intelligence, and the powerful role it can play in managing risk across India, Inc. Mark Zuckerberg once said, "The biggest risk is not taking any risk." In a world that's changing really quickly, the only strategy that is guaranteed to fail is not taking risk. That couldn't be more relevant today, especially with AI, where the promise and the pitfalls go hand in hand. For us in India, Inc., risk can't be a checklist anymore. It's a living, evolving part of strategy. And at the center of managing these fast-moving, complex risks is AI. A tool, yes, but a strategic partner too. AI has moved beyond just innovation. It's helping organizations shift from reactive to predictive and even preemptive risk strategies. Take pharmaceuticals. AI has brought massive efficiency to drug development, collapsing years of effort into weeks. In manufacturing, predictive AI can reduce system failures, enhance worker safety, and cut downtime by 50%. The global supply chain, over 60% of companies now rely on AI to boost responsiveness and reduce disruptions. And of course, in insurance, AI is rewriting the rules of underwriting, with claims settled in minutes and a 60% jump in risk assessment accuracy. We are even seeing AI improve natural disaster discovery by almost 40 to 50%. Is there an industry that is left, though, that won't be transformed or disrupted by AI? That's the scale we are talking about. And with that scale, a shift is what is warranted. Clearly, we are not just adopting AI. We are entering the age of AI value creation. Organizations are building cognitive risk models, engines that learn on the go. Tools like generative AI, explainable AI, agentic solutions, and NLP are making real-time human life decision truly possible. What's exciting is that AI is being democratized. These are not tools. They are way beyond enterprise grade anymore. They are becoming part of everyday lives. And that makes our responsibility even bigger. Because the question isn't if we all will use AI. It's how we will use and how we will use it responsibly. As we look ahead, I believe we carry a dual responsibility to lead adopting AI as a pillar of resilience and to shape the global narrative so that AI is inclusive, secure, and above all, human-centric. AI is the new electricity, powering our organizations and our daily lives. So tonight is just not about recognition, it's a call to action. Let's use this platform and not just to award best practices, but to share them. Let's collaborate, network, and co-create a future where risk is anticipated and transformed into opportunity. To all the IRMA winners, a big congratulations. Your work shows us what's possible when strategy meets courage and innovation. Let's go towards just building frameworks, but also making an India which is risk-ready. Thank you so much for being here. It's been a pleasure addressing all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mantri, for those insightful words and for setting the tone of the evening. Well, with that, I now invite CNBC TV18's Lata Venkatesh to deliver the opening address.
We start the process of India Risk Management Awards a good 6 months before the jury actually meets. And at that time, it was artificial intelligence which seemed to be the biggest risk in town. And that obviously was woven into the risk management criteria, into the scoring, and even when the jury met. But come April 2nd, the journalist in me started rethinking. The biggest risk no longer seemed to be artificial intelligence, but it seemed to be tariff wars, trade wars. So how do you midway change the theme of the evening? You invite the most appropriate person as the chief guest. So it is my absolute pleasure and privilege to welcome Dr. Arvind Panagariya. I'm delighted that he agreed to come over at short notice because he has an extremely busy schedule as the chairman of the 16th Finance Commission. So really grateful to you, sir, that you agreed to deliver the keynote speech today. We could not have had Dr. Panagariya at a more appropriate moment, and we could not have had a more appropriate guest in today's juncture. Because although he can study all facets of the Indian economy, that's why he's the chairman of the Finance Commission, he is a specialist in trade economics and has written many a paper and book with the iconic Dr. Jagdish Bhagwati. So absolutely the most appropriate person for the moment. At a time when the world is gripped with trade wars and tariff consultations and tariff arguments, I would personally give anything to hear Dr. Panagariya, to listen to him and learn more about it. I regard him personally as my teacher, but that's not saying much. People much more learned than me have showered accolades on him. And of course, the ultimate accolade came from a grateful nation. The Indian government showered on him the Padma Bhushan in 2012. In his previous avatars, Dr. Panagariya has been the chief economist at the Asian Development Bank. He has been on the faculty of the Department of Economics at the University of Maryland. That was for a fairly long period, from 1978 to 2003. So in that period, I want to just drive home 1978 to 2003. 78 was a period, 1978, when the world was still building tariff walls against one another. China was not even on the scene. And then he teaches all through, teaches and writes papers, all through 1990, when the world has brought down tariff walls, and there is the WTO order, the MFN regime, where all countries have the same tariffs for nations, for any product. And then back, Dr. Panagariya is at Columbia University when the world is once again rent apart with tariff walls and trade wars, as it were. During these years, he has worked with the World Bank, with IMF, with UNCTAD in various capabilities. His PhD is from Princeton. But the important point is Dr. Panagariya is not just a trade economist. Like I told you at the moment, chairing the Finance Commission, looking at the micros of the Indian economy bottom up to ensure the sharing of resources in a fair manner. The commission is appointed every 5 years, as you all know. So he has actually examined India from all angles. So with these words, may I invite Dr. Panagariya to take his pick, sir. The canvas we have is Viksit Bharat, but we invite you to address us on all important aspects. Thank you very much.
I remain very optimistic about India, and I really think that there is a path for India to arrive at the developed country status by 2047. Can India become a high-income country by 2047? What is the standard? The standard that the World Bank sets is a per capita income of 14,000. It's 14,005, but I'll just take the round figure, 14,000, at the 2023 prices and exchange rate. So this is a standard set in dollars and per capita income standard. Well, 2023-24, which is the latest definitive per capita income figure we have for India, that is $2,570. In 2023-24 dollars, you need to be able to, in constant dollars, get to 14,000 in 2047. That's about 24-year period from 23 to 2047. So you can do a simple, compounding growth calculation. You just work back what the implicit compound growth rate is for you to get there. That figure is straightforward, turns out to be about 7.3%, which means that in real dollars, in constant dollars, can India grow at 7.3% over the next 24 years? That is the question then, because if we can do that, then we get there given our current per capita income of 2,570. There are additionally a few other things that are going for India. In that, I would point out very big factor. It's an obvious one, you all know that, which is India's large population and young population. So there are two factors which we need to distinguish. One is the size of the population, and the other is the fact that it is a young population. Both of them would serve India well. Large population helps you, particularly with respect to the public goods. You talk roads, you talk civil aviation, digital infrastructure, all of that, the provision of public goods cost actually declines with per capita cost, that declines with the size of the population you're serving. If the number of people in a region increases, let's say by 10% or 20%, they can continue to use the same roads that exist. Your marginal cost actually of accommodating them, that extra 10-20% on the existing road network is practically zero. Likewise, digital infrastructure, once you have created it, adding more users to that digital infrastructure, per capita cost is practically close to zero. In addition, now the fact that the population is young has a lot of benefits. Younger population means more workers per 1,000 population. And that automatically means more output per worker for a given productivity, or more output per 1,000 people. So per capita output, the larger the workforce I got out of that population, let's say of 1,000 people, larger the output and therefore larger the per capita output within that. Then you come to the saving side, and younger population saves, older population spends out of what they saved yesterday. So your savings rate, therefore, is likely to be higher with the younger population. And that also means that the capital accumulation, remember that the savings rate ultimately determines your rate of capital accumulation, that also gets helped. Then finally, we can come to what the government has been able to do and is doing, and the scope for economic reforms that still remains in India. As I said, productivity is still low. There is still an enormous amount of room to raise that productivity. And a lot of the reforms, so first on the infrastructure side, I think, if you look at it, today, the speed at which the infrastructure has been built up in the last 5-6 years is just unprecedented. So, if given the policies that we have had, if we could grow at 7.8% in real dollars, certainly with more reforms, we can at least grow that much, if not faster. So that's my kind of optimistic scenario. Thank you.
ICICI Lombard and CNBC-TV18 present India Risk Management Awards Season 11. ICICI Lombard and CNBC-TV18 present India Risk Management Awards Season 11.
We are now tossing over to you for a wonderful exchange and deep dive into an exciting fireside chat. And the topic is risk versus resilience, charting new India's economic path. The session is all about how India can turn risks into opportunities, stay agile, and build an economy that's ready for whatever the future brings. Lata?
Thank you very much, Dr. Panagariya, for once again agreeing to this fireside chat. Would you worry that in the days to come, we may have lower productivity because goods are no longer going to be sourced from the cheapest destination, but they are going to be sourced in friendshoring or onshoring? Even if it is expensive, it has to be made in the US. Even if it is expensive, it has to be made in India. Would not that mean lower productivity, higher cost?
I think largely that depends on what we do. So
we as in India.
As in India. Suppose we forge a free trade agreement. We just signed one with the United Kingdom. Suppose we also forge a free trade agreement with the United States, and we forged one with the European Union. Largely, I think, these are going to be very likely three of our, particularly European Union, the United States, probably that's 2/3 of our trade. And over time, I think it's probably going to reconfigure further, given the geopolitics. Now, one of the things that has changed is that because of the way the US was leading in the multilateral trading system for a long time, geopolitics never trumped the trading system. But today, geopolitics has become much more central. Even within our own country, within India, we want to move away from China.
Yes.
So if you take that as given, then I think with us, if we have done free trade agreements with the European Union and the United States, for large parts, I think we have escaped discrimination.
Yes.
So whoever is more efficient among these trading partners will be the one supplying, because everybody is having zero tariff with us. So it depends on us.
When you spoke about Viksit Bharat, and you said that we should be at least able to do what we did before, if the secular rate of dollar GDP growth has been 7.3%, we should be able to do at least 7.3 or 7.8 in the next 20 years because of the demographic advantage. But that was also the period of the great moderation in prices and relatively low trade barriers, relatively high trade as a percentage of GDP. Now we are probably going to enter a period of hostile trade barriers. So therefore, can we extrapolate the same rate of growth?
the trade relationships are reconfiguring. So we are in transition right now. So we don't know exactly where it's going to come out. But if I were to put my money on something, this is the scenario I think is that's likely to play out, most likely to play out. That in the end, when the dust settles, we would end up with free trade agreements with the United States, with the European Union, and UK we have already done. Australia we haven't, etc., etc. But the big markets, so the countries with which we do want to trade, we would have some kind of free trade agreement approximating, it's not full free trade, but approximating free trade. And the countries with which we don't want to trade, China, probably we won't have anything. Now, I would argue, well, there are 2 points I'll make here. One is that in spite of all the friction that arises, so far trade growth has not dramatically slowed down. Pre-COVID, at peak, world merchandise exports 2018 was 19 trillion, services was 6 trillion, together 25 trillion. Now, after COVID happened, we all thought supply chains had gone completely, and now trade is going to be completely shrunken badly. Post-COVID peak, which happened, I think, in 2023, was 25 trillion in merchandise exports, 7 trillion in services, 32 trillion relative to 25 trillion altogether. Our problem is a very large market, it's an incredibly large market. Our problem is not the size of the market. It's pretty big. You want to export and you want to import from. Plenty of it is there. Our problem has been that due to our own policies, which have been historically inward-looking and all, our share in the merchandise exports is only about 2%, services maybe 4%. Plenty of scope for us to increase the share. So I think that is where my optimism comes from. I think our trade policies, our own trade policies are certainly getting a lot better, ultimately when the dust settles down in this whole scenario. And with the trading partners we want to trade, geopolitically speaking, I think we'll have better trade relations.
We have great hopes that at the end, as this trade war evolves, we will be the beneficiaries. This big China +1 theme, which started off in the first Trump presidency, and we were expecting to be beneficiaries. Actually, we were beneficiaries, but Vietnam and Bangladesh and Indonesia benefited more than we did. Are you sanguine? Are you confident that we can get outsized benefits from people exiting China?
In the China +1 game, now actually where we are heading, our chances get a lot better.
Better.
A lot better. If these free trade agreements pan out, good likelihood, we'll see what happens, then think from the viewpoint of any multinational that is looking for a different location. Pressure on China obviously has gone multiplied by 10x or something, because 145% tariff, not very likely to come down. Even the US manufacturers who are located in China are bleeding right now. They are looking for where else, what can they do. So they are going to start moving somewhere. They are already moving. We are already seeing that impact even on India right now. But in increasingly large numbers, that movement is going to happen where they're going to go. If you look at the countries, alternatives, things like Vietnam or Cambodia, they are small countries. In the end, the labor force size is not large enough. And there is enormous advantage to locating a bulk of your supply chains in a single country, because there the movement of the goods is frictionless. The moment you're in a small country, in the end components are coming from somewhere, goods are going somewhere. There's so much of this movement requiring that you, in effect, have a lot of friction. So India is the only large country where you can locate these supply chains. It has the labor force. It's certainly labor force is at a point at which the practical skills that are required can be generated now. Labor force is ready to acquire the skills. It doesn't probably have the skills, but it's a matter of having the factories. You go, I visited as a part of my current job, some of the factories in Chennai and all. You can see, workers are with 8th class, 10th class, and these are mostly women coming, from the
Yes,
hinterland.
the Foxconn factory.
Yeah, Foxconn factory. So visit some of those factories and all. They acquire skills like that because, with 8th class or 10th class, a lot of these jobs, you can acquire the skills. It's a matter of factory being there to provide you the skills.
Thank you very much for your patience and for giving us that optimistic takeaway that we can grow on per capita terms at 7.8% or 7.5% for the next 20 years. And in our own lifetime, we will be a developed nation.
In your
Thank
lifetime, definitely not mine.
No, sir, yours too. Thank you very much, sir.
ICICI Lombard and CNBC-TV18 present India Risk Management Awards Season 11. ICICI Lombard and CNBC-TV18 present India Risk Management Awards Season 11.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, we finally embark on the 11th edition of the India Risk Management Awards, IRMA as we call it, recognizing and celebrating the very best in risk management practices. We now get ready to celebrate innovation and excellence as we unveil the first set of winners for the 11th Annual India Risk Management Awards. And to present the same, may I please invite on stage Dr. Arvind Panagariya, Mr. Sanjeev Mantri, and Lata Venkatesh. All three of you, please, if you can join me here. So we will begin with the large cap segment, and the first category in that is Masters of Risk Private Company. And the award goes to Cognizant Technology Solutions. Our next category is Masters of Risk PSU. And the winner, ladies and gentlemen, is Hindustan Petroleum Corporation. Our next category is Masters of Risk Conglomerate. And the winner is Grasim Industries. Our next category for the evening is Masters of Risk Automotive. And the winner is VE Commercial Vehicles. Here comes our next category, which is very interesting. Masters of Risk Banking. And the winner, ladies and gentlemen, is Axis Bank. The next category is Masters of Risk, Capital Projects and Infrastructure. And the award goes to Prism Johnson. Now let's talk about FMCG sector. So let's start with the category called Masters of Risk FMCG. And the winner is ITC. The next category is Masters of Risk, IT, ITS, and the winner is Wipro. category is Masters of Risk Logistics. And the winner is Blue Dart Express. The next award category is Masters of Risk Metals and Mining. And the award goes to Hindalco Industries. With that, we move to Masters of Risk in a very complex category, which is Power, Energy and Utilities. And the award goes to Tata Power Company. Up next, Masters of Risk Telecom, and the winner is Reliance Jio Infocom. Our next category is Masters of Risk in Business Continuity Management. And the award goes to Tata Consultancy Services. Masters of Risk in Cybersecurity, and the winners once again, Tata Consultancy Services. We now talk about Masters of Risk in Fraud Prevention and Ethics Management. And the award goes to VE Commercial Vehicles. The winner in the Masters of Risk in ESG segment in the large cap category is Hindustan Zinc. Our next category is an important one, Masters of Risk in Regulatory Compliance Management. Let's see who has done it well. The winner is Bank of Maharashtra. Second last category in this segment is Masters of Risk in Technology. Put your hands together for Tata Steel. Now, Masters of Risk in Supply Chain Risk Management, and the winner is Bharat Petroleum Corporation. Those were the recognitions for risk management in the large cap category. A big congratulations to all the winners.
ICICI Lombard and CNBC-TV18 present India Risk Management Awards Season 11. ICICI Lombard and CNBC-TV18 present India Risk Management Awards, Season 11.
We move to the next set of awards. And to present the awards, once again, may I request Mr. Sanjeev Mantri and Lata to please come up on stage. All right, we're going to move now to the mid and small cap segment. And we will start with the mid-cap segment. The first category in mid-cap segment is Masters of Risk Private Company. And the winner is Tata Consulting Engineers. Our next category is Masters of Risk Capital Projects and Infrastructure. And the award goes to Antony Waste Handling Cell. Masters of Risk ITs is the next category. And the company that stood out for our jury is Happiest Minds Technologies. Next up, the category in the mid-cap segment is Masters of Risk Industrial Chemical Manufacturing. And the winner is NOSIL. We now go to our next category, which is Masters of Risk Logistics. And the award goes to Inland World Logistics. Up next, the category is Masters of Risk in Cyber Security. And the winner is Latent View Analytics. The second last category in mid-cap segment is Masters of Risk ESG, Environmental, Social and Governance. And the award goes to All Cargo Terminals. The final category in mid-cap is Masters of Risk in Regulatory Compliance and Management. And the winner is Harsha Engineers International. Unfortunately, they couldn't join us today, but they are here with us in spirits, and we are sending a big congratulations to their team. All right, now moving on to small cap segment. And the first category in this is Masters of Risk Manufacturing. And the winner is Mitsu Chemplast. Ladies and gentlemen, we now have the final category for India Risk Management Awards 2025, Masters of Risk Services. And the award goes to UTI Pension Fund. May I now request all the winners, one representative each, to please come on stage. Let's have a picture together. that, it's a wrap of the 11th edition of India Risk Management Awards, ladies and gentlemen. A big thanks to our jury, who did the toughest job of choosing the winners for this year. Thank you to each one of you for being a wonderful audience.
ICICI Lombard and CNBC-TV18 present India Risk Management Awards Season 11.